So you're diving headfirst into decentralized finance, lending and borrowing, huh?
Definitely a hot topic.
And you've stumbled upon this Ajna Protocol. Good find.
It's turning heads, for sure.
Rightfully so. From the research you sent, seems like you're really digging for the why behind the hype.
Yeah, trying to cut through the noise.
And that's what we're here for. We're talking about a potential revolution here, how lending and borrowing could work, even for assets most platforms wouldn't touch. But let's back up a bit. Set the scene first.
Get the lay of the land.
Exactly. The current DeFi landscape, as exciting as it is, has, well, limitations.
For sure. Reliance on governance tokens, those external price oracles.
Right. Big concerns about manipulation, centralization.
Even censorship, you could say.
Not to mention, these platforms, they often focus on the most popular assets.
Leaving a ton of potential untapped.
Exactly. But what if? What if there was a way to ditch the governance altogether? Say goodbye to oracles, open up lending to, well, practically any asset pair you can imagine.
That's the holy grail, some would say.
And that's what Ajna is aiming for. A peer-to-pool lending protocol built for Ethereum and compatible networks, of course.
It's stirring things up, no doubt, that unconventional approach.
Unconventional is putting it mildly. No central authority calling the shots, no reliance on those sometimes fickle oracles,
Right.
and complete freedom to create a lending pool for anything. From Bitcoin to, well, maybe even that rare Pepe you've been holding on to.
That's the beauty of it. Permissionless. It democratizes everything, empowers people.
I like the sound of that. No more board of directors deciding what's worthy of being lent or borrowed.
It's a whole new ballgame.
But how does it actually work? Let's start with those price buckets. They're at the heart of Ajna, right?
Yeah, they're crucial. Think of them like offers, just waiting to be accepted.
Okay, I'm listening.
So lenders deposit what are called, quote, tokens, the asset they want to lend out, like, say, a stablecoin.
Makes sense.
Each bucket. It represents a different loan-to-collateral ratio, essentially setting the price they're willing to lend at.
So if I'm feeling bullish on, let's say, Ethereum, and want to lend out my stablecoins when it hits, say, $2,500.
You'd find the bucket reflecting that ratio.
Exactly.
And deposit my stablecoins there. Got it.
You're essentially saying, I believe in ETH, and this is how much I'm willing to back that belief.
It's like a giant decentralized pawn shop, but with crypto, and
Sure.
way more transparency. And this is where borrowers come in. They see these preset offers in the price buckets,
Right.
choose the ratio that works for them based on their collateral, and then pledge their assets to take out the loan.
Got it. But let's say a borrower gets a little carried away,
Happens to the best of us.
and the value of their collateral takes a hit. That's where Ajna's liquidation mechanics come in, right?
Exactly. Liquidation.
And what about those liquidation bonds? Everyone's talking about them.
This is where things get really interesting. We have to talk about LUP and TP.
LUP, TP, sounds complicated.
Loan utilization percentage, or LUP, and threshold price, TP for short. They're key to understanding when a loan gets risky. Think of TP like a safety line. It's a ratio between the loan amount and the collateral's value.
So as a borrower uses more of their collateral to take out a loan.
Their LUP goes up, and it goes too high, crosses that TP threshold. Big red flag.
A warning sign. Okay, makes sense. But unlike other platforms where liquidations are a bit of a free-for-all, Ajna has these liquidation bonds to encourage, well, careful action.
Right. Most DeFi platforms, anyone can trigger a liquidation when a loan's in the danger zone.
Right.
Ajna makes potential liquidators post a bond, skin in the game.
I like it.
And this bond, it's tied to two prices, MOM, most optimistic matching price, and the NP, the neutral price.
MP, we're in DeFi alphabet soup territory now.
I know, right? Think of MOMP as the best case scenario. For borrower, during liquidation. It's the price where they could realistically pay back their loan, using only what's immediately available from lenders in the pool.
A safety net, kind of,
Yeah.
based on the pool's available cash.
Yeah.
Got it.
What about NP? Now, the NP, that's where the fun starts. It factors in the time since the loan was last touched. Was more debt taken on, collateral added, combines that with the MOP at that specific time, the loan's threshold price, and the current interest rate.
So it's like a constantly adjusting benchmark, considering the loan's history.
You got it. More nuanced, fairer.
Clever. But how does this tie back to those liquidation bonds?
So the size of the bond a liquidator needs to post depends on how far the loan's threshold price is from the MOP program. Riskier loan, larger the bond. Make sure only those who are really confident are incentivized to trigger liquidations.
Not just a race to hit the button, then. More about calculated decisions. High risk, high bond, high potential reward. I like it.
Exactly.
But what happens after a liquidation is triggered?
Auctions,
Auction.
high speed, automated. Dutch auctions, to be precise.
Yeah.
Starts high and gradually goes down until someone jumps in. Sold. I'll take it.
Like a DeFi game of hot potato. But you want the potato this time. So the liquidator who started this whole thing.
But taking risk, right?
Big time. But big risk, big reward.
Okay, walk me through it.
If they're right, if that final auction price is below the neutral price we talked about, they get their bond back. Plus a reward.
For keeping the system honest,
Mhm.
I like it. But what if they're wrong? What if the loan wasn't actually that risky? Got to be some kind of deterrent, right, to prevent people from just, spamming liquidations.
Oh, absolutely. If the option price ends up higher than that neutral price, meaning the loan wasn't as risky as they thought, they lose some, maybe even all of their bond.
Ouch. High stakes.
Exactly. Makes them think twice before crying wolf. I can see that. Makes everyone play it smart. So it's self-regulating, in a way.
You could say that.
But what happens to all the other loans, the interest rates, while this is going on? Does everything just freeze up?
Another good question. This is actually another cool thing about Ajna. Even during a liquidation, that loan's debt still factors into the interest rate calculations for the entire pool.
Wait, seriously? Even though that collateral is, like, on the auction block as we speak?
Yep. It creates this constant upward pressure on rates whenever there are loans considered risky.
So it's like a built-in alarm system.
Exactly. Reminds everyone, hey, lending's always got some risk, even with these fancy bonds and auctions.
A healthy dose of caution. I like it. Keeps lenders on their toes. So it's not just about chasing the highest yield, but understanding the bigger picture.
You got it. And this all circles back to one of Ajna's core principles, decentralization. Anyone can create a lending pool for any asset pair.
Right. We talked about that.
Think of the potential. All those pools.
It's like a DeFi flea market. One person's junk could be another's treasure.
Precisely.
Okay, but let's talk about the AJNA token itself. Where does it fit into all of this? This isn't just some governance token pulling strings in the background, is it?
Nope, not at all. AGNA token, it's like the engine oil. Keeps everything running smooth.
Engine oil. Okay, I like it. How so?
Well, like everything else with Ajna, it's got this, well, self-sustaining model.
It's self-sustaining, huh? That's a buzzword if I've ever heard one.
But it's true. Picture this. As these AJNA pools do their thing, generate revenue from the interest rates, those origination fees, even the penalties from those liquidation bonds,
Oh,
all those funds, they get collected as reserves.
like a community piggy bank.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Every so often, a portion of these reserves, they're put up for sale, and people can buy them with, you guessed it, AJNA tokens.
Okay, makes sense so far.
But here's the thing. Those AJNA tokens that are purchased, they're burned, gone, poof,
They disappear. Why?
buy and burn. It's designed to, in theory, make the remaining AJNA tokens more valuable over time.
Yeah.
Supply and demand, right? Less supply, same or higher demand, price goes up.
Ah, the old scarcity play. So it's like this
Yeah.
self-fulfilling prophecy of value creation, fueled by the protocol's own success. That's actually pretty wild.
And that's just the beginning. We haven't even touched on the real groundbreaking stuff. Ajna's ability to create lending markets for things most DeFi platforms wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole.
Don't tell me. It can predict the weather and cure the common cold.
Not quite. But it does open up a whole world of possibilities beyond your typical Bitcoin and Ethereum.
A more inclusive financial system. I like where this is going. So we've got these self-sustaining pools, a token that, in theory, goes up as the protocol gets used. But what about the actual assets being, lent and borrowed? You got me curious with this whole lend on anything thing, because most platforms, they stick to the big names. Bitcoin, Ethereum, that's it.
It's the long tail. That's where the real potential is.
Long tail, like in a stock chart.
Not exactly. Think about all the digital assets out there. The hidden gems, niche tokens, even those NFTs you've got gathering dust in your wallet.
Okay.
They often don't have the liquidity or the market cap to be on those traditional platforms. It's a chicken and egg thing.
Catch-22, I get it.
And Ajna, it changes the game.
Yeah.
Anyone can become a market maker. Effectively, you could create a lending pool for the most obscure asset imaginable, as long as someone's willing to, lend or borrow against it.
So you're saying it's like this. DeFi flea market, where one person's digital dust is another person's prized possession.
Exactly. You got it.
Okay. I like it. But NFTs, let's talk about those. People are sitting on these digital assets, some worth a fortune, others, well, can Ajna actually do something with them beyond just being, JPEGs?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this is where it gets even more interesting. Remember we talked about collateral?
Yeah.
Well, with Ajna, you're not limited to just one NFT as collateral.
Yeah.
Imagine using your entire collection, your CryptoPunks, your Bored Apes.
Wait, hold on. You're telling me I could put up my entire NFT collection as collateral for a loan? Like the whole thing?
You could. Now, the terms, the loan-to-value ratios, that'll all depend on the specific pool, the assets.
Yes. Sure. But still, the possibility. So instead of having to choose between, like, paying rent and keeping my precious NFTs, I could potentially do both.
Exactly. You're essentially turning your NFT collection into this DeFi war chest, you could say. You still own it, but now those assets are working for you.
Now we're talking. This is revolutionary stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not just NFTs, right? You mentioned real-world assets, too, stuff that exists, well, outside the computer.
You got it. Real estate, art, precious metals, anything with inherent value, Ajna could tokenize it all. Plug it into DeFi.
Hold on, slow down a bit. How does that even work? You can't just, like, copy and paste a house onto the blockchain.
True, but you can create a digital representation of that house, a token that represents ownership. And that's where Ajna comes in.
Okay, I'm listening.
So imagine this. A real estate developer, they tokenize a property, create these digital shares representing fractional ownership. Then they set up an Ajna lending pool around those tokens.
And suddenly anyone in the world could theoretically own a piece of that property.
Exactly. Democratizing real estate investing.
My head is spinning. We've gone from lending against memes to potentially changing how the entire financial system works. It's mind-blowing.
And it's all thanks to the power of decentralization. It's still early days, of course, but the potential is huge.
I can see that. This has been eye-opening, to say the least. So to wrap things up, for anyone listening, if you're looking for the next big thing in DeFi, Ajna Protocol is definitely worth checking out.
Couldn't agree more.
But as always, do your own research, understand the risks, don't invest more than you can afford to lose. That's rule number 1 in crypto, right?
Always good advice.
Couldn't agree more. Until next time, everyone, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the world of decentralized finance. It's a wild ride.